I I have 35 acres, and all but about 3 are wooded.
Oh, so you could have a Bigfoot running around in your backyard and you don't even realize it.
I'm surrounded by farms, and the Gasconade River is just down the hill from me.
Oh, wow. Well, maybe that kid you saw was actually a Bigfoot disguising himself as a human for he could, check your property and you out. I don't know. What do you think, Michael?
Well, I was just thinking, I wanted to ask Liz, have you ever done any of those downloads on ghost apps on your phone, just to kind of hang it around your house just to see if anything strange shows up? I mean, I'm not kidding about that, because I do know some of my paranormal clients out there that do ghost hunting and those kinds of things have these. They swear by some of the really nice ghost apps that will actually tell you information if you ask questions and those kinds of things. Have you ever tried those, or even a very simple compass? Just setting the compass on a table and seeing if it moves periodically.
I haven't. It's not something that's ever really bothered me, so I never really thought about digging into it that much.
Yeah.
Well, I'd tell you.
I mean,
I would tell you what, Liz. I'll tell you this. Myself, if I was in the bedroom, right, sleeping, and my bedroom door open and closed, I'd tell you one thing. I'd be looking for a new house really fast, because if it was nothing there and that door open and closed, I mean, number one, I don't want somebody to see my naked body. Number two is, well, if they did, they would die of fright. But I mean, on the other hand, I would be really, paranoid about like some of the things that's happening to you. I mean, I didn't even believe in all this stuff here I hate to say it, the past year doing this new show, Strictly All Paranormal. I mean, it's not the same as it was when I did it back in the 70s. Because now, I mean, people are so much open on stuff. It kind of really intrigues me, and some of it actually scares me.
Well, part of it is with me growing up, we had, I guess, basically our house was haunted. Even though we built the house, the property was haunted. So we would all be downstairs and hear doors open and close. We would hear what sounded like boots walking across the length of the upstairs hardwood floors, and all of us would be downstairs. So for me, this is normal.
You ever think?
I don't think anything about it. I grew up with it. This is normal for me.
Yeah, but do you ever think maybe when you were a kid and one of those entities maybe followed you to where you're at now and is there? Is that possible?
I don't think so, because I lived in a house in between times and there was nothing there. There was never anything out of the ordinary that happened. So I think whatever is going on here where I live now is here on the property.
Well, you're brave. I tell you, you're brave. Hey,
brave or crazy? I mean, it could be either one.
Or a combination of both. How's that? We'll tie it into that way.
Yeah, it could be.
Hey, I want to thank you for coming on the show with no notice. And, hey, Michael, I do want to talk to you for a minute after we let Liz go. But, again, everybody, I want you to go check out her books on Amazon and support her by buying one. And also, if your wife is coming up with a birthday, you might, again, tell everybody your website, because with your jewelry, I mean, it's really awesome, and they ought to take a look at it.
The website is Liz Reader Books. There's an S at the end of it, .com. And through that, you can go to the shop, which has all my jewelry and signed copies of the first book available. And you can also catch all of the links on the books to purchase through Amazon, the different publishers. The first book is even available with Google and iTunes and Barnes & Noble.
Okay. Well, any last question you want to ask her before I let her go, Michael?
No, Liz, I just wanted to thank you for I know how difficult it is and how many hours you have to spend and how many other things you have to not do when you sit down to write books. So thank you for all your patience and your creativity.
Oh, you're welcome. It's fun to do. For me, that's my escape, is being able to do that.
Well, great. I want to thank you again. Also, I want to thank you for always sharing our, network and our show up on Facebook. I do appreciate that, because I'm sure that has brought us so many more listeners we would never have had. And again, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you on that.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay, kid. Well, you have a great evening.
Thank you.
Night. So you got to tell me, Michael, how did the filming go, and how exciting was it over the weekend getting away with all those cool people? And did you see anything strange in the sky at all?
Oh, Gary, thank you for asking, because I'll tell you what, we spent an entire weekend from Friday at 12 noon till Sunday at about 3 o'clock, 3:30, working on this pitch pilot episode of the UFO I-Team's unscripted reality TV show. And our episode that we're filming right now is called Soft Disclosure with a Hard Landing. And for the entire weekend, we were either filming or reviewing film and videotape of people that have caught UFOs on camera up in this small little town in the North Cascades, close to the Canadian border in Washington State. So I'm very excited. That's the bottom line. We have got, these shows, they want some kind of a wow factor, something to keep the attention and to bring the audience and or keep the audience and make sure they don't turn the channel. But I tell you what, we've got wow factor that is stunning. We've got, for instance, right off the bat on Friday night, our camera guy, which Lee Strauss, he's our intrepid guide, and he's got all of our equipment that has night vision and stop action photography. He sets up with a sweeping view of Mount Baker, waits till the sun goes down, and starts just looking all over the night sky with his gear. And by the way, he has these large monitors on the tripod, so he didn't have to just look through the eyepiece all the time. He says on Friday night he caught at least 2 different UFOs flying in front of Mount Baker. This was not in the night sky where you could confuse it with the International Space Station, satellites, or even shooting stars. This is something that was moving in an erratic motion in front of the giant volcano, Mount Baker. So we're excited that right off the bat he got some footage in that regard. And I can tell you later on, I can tell you further if you'd like to about some of the other things that we've captured up there, but it seems to be a hot spot of UFO activity.
Well, it does. And boy, I mean, how many people of your group were there? How many of you were, all there that night and the next day? You still there? Hello? Hey, we just lost him. Well, we'll talk for a minute and hopefully he calls back. That is some of the problems I find with Skype. Okay. That's one thing I hate about Skype. Right in the middle of something good, or one of the government agencies, hung us up purposely. Can you hear me? Okay, you're back, but you're not hearing anything. Oh, boy. Michael.
I'm here, Gary, if you can hear me.
No, I can hear you, but I don't think you're hearing me.
No, I sure cannot hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay. Don't know what to say. Hopefully, I would try rebooting your computer, but that is really a bummer when that happens. I'm kind of curious, how many people were actually there. I'm going to try to send them a message. Let's see here. But, I find it so intriguing. Okay, here he is. Let's hopefully this time. Okay, can you hear me this time, Michael? Hello? He's not hearing me again. So that tells me that he is going to have to reboot his computer. Reboot. Let's see. I'm going to send him a message here. Hopefully he looks and sees that. But that makes me, wonder, about things that go out, at night. I mean, if people are out by Mount Baker and they can record something flying in the sky that, it's not the space station, not a satellite. There's just so many strange things that are out in the sky. It reminds me back in early 2000s when I took home a pair of infrared binoculars, Russian issue, actually. And I just, got tired of looking at the neighbors and raccoons in the trees and stuff like that. I all of a sudden, started looking at the sky. And then all of a sudden I started seeing things that you couldn't see with a telescope. I mean, I was seeing things zigzagging and coming to a stop and then going a complete different direction. I don't know anything that we have, or maybe we do have, that is capable of doing that. But that makes you always wonder, if there is other things out there. And they have, seen so many different UFOs. And I'm sure a lot of people listening have actually seen a UFO. Now, I don't know if it is tied in with our secret space agency that we just now are creating, or a space force. I'll see if he's got it rebooted this time and see if that... Can you hear me this time? Hello?
Hello, Gary, I'm back.
And you can hear me? Hello? Well, you're not hearing me. I don't know what to say. That's the trouble sometimes with Skype. The new Skype just seems to, I was reading online today. People are complaining right and left about the new Skype that is having serious problems where people just can't, get it to work right. So give me a see. Okay. So anyway, I'm buying a little bit of time here because, boy, even our first guest tonight, we talked a little bit about Planet X. How many out there of you believe that there is a Planet X and that our government is keeping it from us because they're worried about people are going to panic? Because, if you read about it, it could be a life extinction force on Earth where it takes all of us out and we're no longer here. It tears their planet apart. There's so many different things and theories about Planet X. I know some of it have said that Planet X is, supposed to have hit around 2015, 2016. Here we're now into 2018. So their predictions were off by a couple years. But then I was reading today, Nancy Joyce on her website posted an article about Planet X, saying that a scientist claims it is heading towards the Earth. And I don't know what's going to happen, but again, the government's trying to cover it up. And he's a whistleblower. And you can find that information out on Skyships Over Cashiers, or cashiers.com. That's Skyship Over Cashiers.com. And Mary Joyce has a very good reporting system. It covers UFOs and Bigfoot and all these type of reports, and it goes back for years. It's one of the more extensive databases for this stuff. Almost as good, or if not equal to Peter Davenport's, the UFO Reporting Center over here in Washington State. Makes you wonder what is going on. And would the government disclose to us that there is maybe a life-ending thing heading towards our planet? But then, they said the same thing back around 2000 about, all the computers are going to crash. All of them are going to